Welcome back to MouthpieceSports.com's High School Buzz session, coming to you from the Grotto at 3011 Butterfield Road in Oak Brook. John, you're specifically important to this topic, and that is outside influences. And I don't mean that in a negative. I mean outside influences in terms of there are so many expectations put on high school players today, so much more pressure, so many outside influences that Coach Smith has to deal with and Coach Keene has to deal with. But parents come to you as an outside influence, I think, to make their kids better. How do you deal with parents who think 2 summers with John Haley and Power Performance Camp is getting their kid a ride to Notre Dame?
Well, I think that...
is that a realistic question?
That's a realistic question, because there are a lot of parents out there that, of course, they see no flaws in their child, and, sure. Little Stevie can hit the ball 500 feet, when in reality, he's lucky to get a bunt down or something like that. But it comes to a point where you have to educate the parents, and the parents need to be educated more so than anybody, because they're the greatest influence on all these kids. And I think the number one thing they need to be educated on is the fact that these kids need to rest. As much as we want them to work, as much as we want them to go to practice, as much as we want them to play AAU, to go all over the country, these kids are getting burnt out, and a lot of it, I think, is due to the parents who just push their kids a little bit too far. So I'm not averse to standing in and telling the parents, sometimes you have to lean back, you have to make sure that you're doing the right things for your child, your son or daughter. And in many instances, like I said before, I will sometimes have to turn that child away. This is not maybe not totally, but this is not the right time of year for your son or daughter, sure, to be training. You're in season now. You're playing a rigorous schedule. You got practice every day. I'm going to teach you some things that you can kind of do before and after practice, but you don't need to come see me right now. You need to focus on that. You need to do your homework.
Right.
All these things that go into consideration that the parents, sometimes they overlook, and it's unfortunate for the kid because they're just pulled in too many directions.
Coach Keene, after they spend sessions with Power Performance Camps or Spark or one of those, now the parents think that kid ought to log 40 minutes a night on the court and score 21 points a game. How do you deal with that? Because you're the coach they're going to, right?
Yeah, we've had a lot of calls and meetings and stuff. It's difficult. In our sport, it's tough because you only can play 5 kids at a time, and you have 15 kids on the team. And you're right, everyone, that 15th man, those parents think, well, they're better than the first man or the second man, and it's difficult because it's starting to get instilled in their kids, because every night they're hearing, oh, you should be playing, you should be playing, you should be playing, and then it affects the kid, but then it affects the team, because then it brings the team down, and you have a lot of animosity sometimes between players. So we just do the best we can. We talk to the kid, because that's our responsibility. Our responsibility is to our players. We'll do everything we can for them. We'll help them out and whatever, but our job is to facilitate through them. If they want to share what we're telling them with their parents, that's their right and their prerogative to do so. But they need to ask their kids first before they come directly to the coach as why my son isn't playing. And a lot of times when they go to their kid explains, Dad, I'm not good enough to play. And that's it. There's a few exceptions to the rule, but we facilitate through the kid.
Coach Smith, what this boils down to is parents trying to get college paid for. Let's face it, college today, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. And certainly Power Performance Camps, John can help and coaches can help. But at the end of the day, I think 98% of every high school athlete never wears that uniform again once they leave high school. It's an elite number. Now, you recently coached Derrick Rose, who was an elite athlete. Now, here's a young man that'll be making millions of dollars and playing in the NBA here in a few months. But kids like Derrick Rose come along once a generation and at one school. How do you balance that with the expectations that, frankly, you've created at Simeon with winning state championships, multiple, and putting over a dozen players in Division I in your 4 years?
Yeah, well, my goal is to make sure that everyone gets a college scholarship. It may not be the scholarship that they want or that their parent look for, but just to get them into school for free. That's almost like my job. So I've been successful at that, making sure that everyone gets a scholarship. But what we do is we give everybody a chance. When the best players are gone in the summertime, here's your chance. Hopefully your parents come to see you play and they can understand later, well, maybe he's not as good as little John was, so that's probably why he's not playing as much. But you get your opportunity. And it's not just one time. If they're gone for a week, we may play 7-8 games in that week, and here you go to play. Sure. So you can't say, well, Coach, you never gave me a shot. Well, I gave you a shot in the summertime to go play, and you didn't show me that you could do what someone else could do. So that's why your time is limited, you know. And a lot of stuff I just don't deal with anyway as far as parents' involvement, because in the public school system, if you want to volunteer and coach, you can do it. You can probably get your own team. And you can take your baby and y'all can go play at your school, and then that way you can give them, that way you can give them the opportunity that you're trying to give them, if you're not thinking that I'm giving them a fair shot. So that's just how Coach Hamrick ran his place, and I picked it up from him, because at the end, when I lose, it's on me. It's not on the kid or the parent. They do no wrong in those situations. It goes back to the coach. So, you know, just trying to show them that everybody's going to get an opportunity, and like you say, everybody's not going to get a chance to play that 14th and 15th man. Sure. And they may not, but I always tell the parents, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that he gets a college scholarship.
John, have we lost sight of what sports, and we're talking basketball here, but sports in general, really does for a young man or a young woman? And if I look at it the way everyone else looks at it, and that's, you take the lessons you learn on the court or the field and the hard work that goes into it, and you apply that to the classroom or to a job, you're going to be successful. Are we losing sight of that? Is that what we're getting at?
I hope not, and I know that there's a lot of great coaches like Coach Smith and Coach Keene out there that are reminding their kids that those, I mean, there's more important things here than just basketball. These things transcend, and I'm hoping that it's not lost. You know, I'm an optimist. I want to say that those things, because through sports, you know, I played, you know, I had a failed minor league baseball career, but, you know, I went out there, I gave it everything I had, and I took those lessons from sports, and, you know, I played Division III baseball. Now, it wasn't, you know, I weren't playing in front of packed stadiums or anything like that, but I learned some valuable lessons. I made some great friends, and, you know, I learned, you know, at school, I learned my trade, and, you know, I think that if those things all just led me to where I'm at today, and I hope it's not being lost, because I'm forever grateful for sports for that.
It's funny the way you said that with Division III. It seems like there's such an emphasis. You see on TV, you see Cameron Indoor Stadium, North Carolina Duke, and you see just places rocking. It's Division I. You see jams and highlights, and that's what every parent or so wants for their kid. They want that, but very rarely you have a Derrick Rose or a Jeffrey Jordan or someone that can play at a Division I level. And parents and the kids don't realize that there's other ways to play. I mean, I played Division II, you play Division III. That's good basketball. That's good athletic. You're playing college basketball, college baseball, and you're getting an education. And I think everyone just gets set on a Division I, and that's it. We had a kid who wanted to go to Duke so bad, he wasn't good enough to play at Duke. He went to Augustana, came back and said, "Coach, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. I did not realize how good it was in Division III basketball playing for Augustana." They played for national championship. I mean, it's just, I think that just gets missed throughout athletics.
And in my situation, it's a lot different because of where we're at, and being able to go to school for free is a challenge and good for those people, because, you know, they don't have the money to pay, you know, for school. Sure. And that's something that we know coming in. And that's the thing that I drive and tell them that, you know, you're going to go to school for free, and that's it. That's the biggest thing, is to get you that for free. Right. You spent 4 years of hard work with me, so now I'm going to help you go to school for free. And then if it's a junior college for 2 years and then you go there and graduate and go on to play Division I or Division II or NAIA, then you're still going for free. And that's the ultimate goal, is for me and those kids, is to help them go to school for free, you know. And like I say, all of them are not going to even stay, you know, and some may go for a semester and come back home and get a job, you know. But just to say that he did say he was going to help me go for free, yeah, and it's big. I mean, in the inner city, I mean, some kids be in college and come home for a weekend and never go back. Yeah. I mean, they just don't go back, and they tell their parents, "I'm not going back," you know. So it's a different world, you know, than where they come from, and hopefully it could get better. You know, but they just, I mean, they don't know at the time.
Well, it's part of the education process, and sometimes you learn that's not the right thing for you, and something else is the right thing for you. And hopefully the 10 minutes we spent here together was the right thing for our viewers. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. It was very insightful. Appreciate your efforts, and thank you to the Grotto here in Oak Brook for the great food and the great hospitality. We'll be back soon with more great high school sports topics on MouthpieceSports.com's High School Buzz Session.